This is a video where I'm going to lead into talking about something dear to my heart, as in motoring and safe driving. Something that I've always been interested in. I've said many times in a previous life, almost it seems now, I was a Department of Transport approved driving instructor. I'd like to say I still continue to enjoy driving, and probably on the whole I get some enjoyment out of it, but as I've got older it's become a bit more of a chore, not something that I perhaps enjoy as much as I would like to. Now that's my topic that I'm going to talk about, and I want to just address this to anybody who drives, but maybe particularly if you are learning and you are in your kind of initial or even advanced stages of learning. This is something that perhaps you might benefit from watching. When I was a driving instructor, and I still try to practice this myself, I taught what I would call safe driving for life. Now, for life is quite an important point. To maintain your life, to stay alive and keep others alive, but it is a lifetime skill. Can I tell anyone, if you haven't already got that skill, please acquire it. I know some of you may not want to learn to drive, I quite understand, but believe me, it gives you so many opportunities, and I think even in the future, when, the future of transport and whatever is going to change, it is still a valuable skill. Actually, I have to say, to this day, it is still fun. Yeah, I watch a guy called Ashley, and he does a channel specifically about learning to drive, and he puts quite a few videos on there, which I think are still very helpful to all of us, even those of us with full licenses, and maybe even those of us like me that have been driving a very, very long time. And I was also a biker as well. I also first started my steps or wheels on the road on a motorbike. But here's the real point I want to lead into. We in Great Yarmouth have had several major accidents on a long, straight, continuous, narrow piece of road that forms part of the A47, and we call it the Acle Straight. Most of the way the speed limit is 60. The road is often very, very busy, and there are often, frankly, no safe opportunities to overtake. Now that kind of leads me into something else. I know that we live in an aggression-driven society, yeah? And it's been like that for ages, but it's particularly true now. Outrage, aggression, abuse, trying to get something that you want instantaneously, fighting people out of the way on Black Friday or whatever, aggressively taking all the toilet rolls because you think you might have to self-isolate for a couple of weeks. Aggression. We live in an aggressive society. What people, I wish, would try to stop doing is to transfer that aggression out when they're on the roads. We should, of course, share the road. We should try and drive collaboratively, helping each other safely reach our destinations. However, some don't, do they? They drive aggressively. They go right up the back of the car in front, even if that car is doing the speed limit or is driving at a speed that is safe for the traffic and conditions. They glue themselves back to back, well, they glue themselves to the back of that car because it's so vitally important that they overtake at the first opportunity. Again, aggression comes in. Somebody did an experiment with some guy. They tried to sort of almost cure the guy of the fact that he was a very aggressive driver. He was always on the horn. He was always on the giving it the finger. He was always window down, head out the window, shout, bit of abuse, more pap, 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 pap on the horn, headlight flashing and everything. Very inventive swearing. Very, very inventive. But the man was aggressive. Now, one of the things this guy did to try to just get him out of this, and I think it was brilliant, and maybe it's something people can try on their own, was just take him on a walk round a crowded town. And, as you know, when you walk between people, even if it's in a flaming supermarket or whatever, some of them will dart out in front of you. Some of them will slow down a little bit. Some of them will speed up and try and overtake you. Yeah, you see that when you walk, don't you? But he just then remarked on how this man behaved. Yeah. And he said to the guy afterwards, you see that instant there where that pedestrian on the footpath or whatever just suddenly stopped in front of you. You didn't get angry and start fuming and foaming at the mouth and yelling abuse. See that instant in that queue where you queued up for the post office. You didn't stand that far away from the person in the queue that you were breathing down their neck, that they could actually feel your physical presence there. You didn't do that, did you? So he then said to him, what do you think makes that behaviour kind of totally change when you're in charge of a motor vehicle, when you're in a car? And between them, one of the things I think that they accessed for this change was power. Power and the control over power and the control over situations. Suddenly, you have this protective barrier around you. You have this metal and glass box, and under your feet, for whatever the power setting or ratio may be of your engine, you are actually in charge of something powerful enough to kill. That's put into your charge. Suddenly, that's almost, I think, for some people, intoxicating. Yeah? And I think there are some people who just drive around in this constantly wound up, angry state, and they're almost playing out the power and the bullying through the car. They're playing it out. If they're pushy, shovey people, if they're angry people, if they've just had an argument with the boss or something, into the car, slam the door, put it in gear, foot down, yeah. Power. Maybe our roads would be safer. Maybe there would be less fatal collisions like the one on the A47 Acle Strait that killed two elderly ladies in a head-on collision. Maybe there would be less of those if people could almost still see the human beings in cars. Treat them like they were delicate pedestrians that you walk among. I mean, I cannot imagine, unless somebody was just basically sick in the head, someone barging down a main street and there are two old grannies in the way and they just go ding like that and granny goes, way! You wouldn't do that. Although it obviously does happen and people will even start shouting abuse for no reason, yeah? Although it happens, it somehow makes it easier to happen when you're anonymised and powerful in a car. And the other thing I would say is this. Perhaps we are more willing to make apologies when we do make mistakes, even when we're walking along. Yeah, I don't know, how many times have you ever been in a situation and you've gone to go through a door and another person's gone to go through a door at the same time and you've both gone, oh, sorry, mate, after you. Yeah, you know, and I've done it. I've bumped into people before and gone, oh, sorry, I wasn't looking where I was going. I say, all right, sometimes you get, yeah, but, you know, generally, but people don't seem to be willing to do that in cars, yeah? If you make if you screw up, try just holding your hand up and going, all right, my bad, mate, sorry. Just try not to do the old shake the head. Because to shake the head, in all honesty, I know the shake the head is probably asking for a fight. Yeah, it's asking for a fight. But try to go, okay, look, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, okay? We all make mistakes. Oh, you made a mistake. I'll allow for it. Try to allow for the mistakes and, frankly, the bad driving of others. And then you will really be practicing safe driving for life. Your life and the lives of everybody else out there on the roads. And that doesn't just include motor vehicles, it includes everybody on the road. All the pedestrians, all the school kids, all the motorcyclists, all the crossing wardens, all the cyclists. Everybody using those roads should have the right to use them safely. And only we who drive or ride can make that possible. Let me know what you think, but I wanted to make this for some time. I'm not really too sure what sort of an audience it will get, but do let me know what you think. Thanks, and dare I say it, drive safely.